Jim Harbaugh got his first win as the Los Angeles Chargers head coach. Dave Canales, unfortunately, cannot say the same as the head coach for the Carolina Panthers. He will have to wait for that first win here as the Panthers suffered a devastating loss of 10-47 to the New Orleans Saints, while the Chargers won 22-10 over their Las Vegas Raiders division rival. The Chargers are flying over to Carolina for this Week 2 matchup, and we're going to break down the game here and the key matchups to watch. But before we get into that, if you have not already, go ahead and subscribe to the Tracy Take. And while you're at it, leave a like and a comment down below to let us know who you think is going to win. Throughout the Week 1 prediction videos, we nearly got 100 new subscribers to the channel, which is thank you to everybody that subscribed. For Week 2, let's see if we can break that 100 new subscriber threshold. Any help is greatly appreciated. And Ryan, with that being said here, I'll start off with the Chargers here because it's a lot more positive to talk about. No offense to Panthers fans. But Chargers had a solid, grinded-out game. It's going to be the way that they need to go and win these games here. Overall, great defensive performance from Joey Bosa, Khalil Mack, and everybody else on the defensive side of the ball to contain Devontae Adams and that Raiders offense. Flip side, too, great performance by this offensive line for the Chargers here. Joe Alt and Rashawn Slater and company did an amazing job. A lot of great holes for J.K. Dobbins and company as well. And so thought it was just good game management here. And I think it's going to be the type of games that the Chargers need to play because they don't really have the receiving firepower yet or just that overall development here. Maybe we can see that kind of throughout the season because Ladd McConkey did get his first touchdown as well. On the flip side, though, for the Panthers, what a rough game. That's just tough. Chalk that up to Week 1. Absolutely. I will say, too, as a Falcons fan, I will – let's bond for a second. The past 2 Saints games, they both put up over 40 points. The past 2 Saints home games, they both put up over 40 points against their NFC South rivals here because they put up I don't even know how many in Week 18 last week. I don't even think I watched the game because who cared? We were out of the playoffs. But it was 40-something points as well. And then they did it again as well. I think it's going to be a long season for the Panthers just because of where they're at overall and trading away Brian Burns and some of those key pieces as well. But, Ryan, kind of when I throw it over to you here, what are some of your overall kind of thoughts of the Chargers and Panthers after their Week 1 performance?
Yeah, I was pretty impressed with the Chargers being able to run the ball as well as they did. J.K. Dobbins breaking that long run and, just kind of being able to control the line of scrimmage. And I was expecting an improvement under Jim Harbaugh, but I wasn't necessarily expecting it right away in that aspect of the game. And so I do like kind of seeing that from them. I would love to see them with maybe some more explosive weapons, like get that offense really like juiced up this coming off season. But with that being said, you can't really do anything about that in August, September. So that's not really going to change throughout the season. And so, again, I was still impressed. I thought that they would be in that conversation with like probably top 5 pick. And I think they're going to be a little better than that now. I don't necessarily think they're a playoff team, but I don't think they'll probably be in the low double digits.
Well, and that was the thing I think kind of coming into the season, like looking at their schedule last year, they had 6 games where they lost by I think a field goal or less, or maybe it was 4 points or less. And I think especially some of the early ones on, you could chalk those up to poor coaching decisions. And so I think at minimum, Jim Harbaugh is going to have these guys better prepped, and then also too just make better in-game decisions than Brandon Staley. And so that's kind of what I saw. It's not hard to do. It's a very low bar to be completely honest. No offense to Brandon Staley, but because that's what I saw today too. Is like they were just grinding it out on the run game. Like they found something on the run here, and they just kept feeding J.K. Dobbins. And then on the flip side too, as well, it's they really the Saints were just feeding on everything that the Panthers were providing here. It was just a long day for the Panthers here. Saints admittedly have a solid defense as well. So for a team that's still kind of rebuilding that offensive line, still trying to figure out their overall receiving weapons, it is tough, I think, for this Panthers team to just kind of keep competing. Competing in the game here as well. It was just a rough start. But to be fair, though, too, it's week 1 under a new offensive head coach with a whole totally new offensive system. So I don't think it's anything too concerning to be like to immediately kind of be like, all right, who are we picking first overall next year? It's still a very, very long season. So let's kind of break down the week 2 matchup here between the Chargers and the Panthers. But before we do that, we do like to put a couple bucks down on the Chargers or Panthers throughout the season. Go ahead and check the link down below. BetUS has a bunch of great promotions going on right now for first-time players that you're not going to want to miss. And I will say, too, kind of the odds throughout the week might fluctuate a little bit, but it's going to be hard for me to see the Chargers not being the favorites here by at least 3 points. Yeah. I know it's on the road, and maybe there's going to be a shock overreaction, to maybe some of the betting. But I think 3 points on the road in the NFL is probably good for the team that should be favored coming into this game here. Because I will say, too, just looking at it, the Panthers are going to need to try to find a way to stymie this Chargers offensive line. Because the Chargers offensive line, I think, is at minimum the same, but probably not for surely better than the Saints offensive line. And the Saints dominated this entire game. And so only 1 sack given up by the Saints here. They had 180 rushing yards on 37 carries, so averaging 5 yards per carry. And then on the flip side as well, too, Derek Carr, very efficient, 142.5 rating over. I need to figure out the new rate, 85.1 QBR as well, 19 for 23, 200 passing yards with 3 touchdowns. So they just made the Saints offense look godly. And
this is supposed to be – this was an average offense last year. Like, this was not a good offense.
And the Chargers offense is at minimum going to be average just with their lack of receiving capability. So how do you think the Panthers can stymie this Chargers offense?
They have to figure out a way to stop the run, or else this is just going to be a long day. Because Jim Harbaugh will run the ball 50 times if you're not stopping it. And then at that point it only gets worse and worse once when those gashes start happening. And so they have to figure out how to stop the run. First of all, I will say I would be very willing to put 8 in the box and go 1-on-1 on the outside. I know Ladd McConkey had a good game, but still, if Marshawn Lattimore is healthy, I feel like he could take
Marshawn Lattimore for the Saints. Are you talking about J.C. Horn?
Or J.C. Horn. Sorry.
Yeah.
If J.C. Horn is healthy, I think he could definitely take him out. I don't think he had any injury issues. I was thinking Marshawn Lattimore had the hamstring thing. But I think J.C. Horn should be able to match up with Ladd McConkey. And then from there, you can just kind of trickle down and just put 8 guys in the box. Make them have to beat you some other way other than just running the ball down your throats consistently. And on offense, they also have to protect Bryce Young. Khalil Mack and Joey Bosa are absolute monsters on the edge, and they have to do a better job keeping Bryce Young upright as well.
Yeah, that I think is honestly going to be just the overarching thing is just winning in the trenches, and that's just where the Panthers are just very inefficient as of right now. But to your point, I think another thing, the Panthers need to get the Chargers into 3rd and long situations, whether it's through putting 8 guys in the box or just figuring out a way to stop the run overall. But they can get them into 3rd and long situations that will free them up a little bit to where they don't have to worry about manning up on the outside, is like what you're talking about. Because that was the thing watching the Chargers is they just methodically today 4 yards, 4 yards, 4 yards, just working their way down the field, especially in that second half against just a tired Raiders team that had to just keep on doing it just over and over again. And so if they're able to get them into 3rd and long situations consistently, then I think they have a shot here, at least to slow down the Chargers. But it is going to be, I think, a long season for the Panthers. I do believe the Chargers are going to win this game. I have them winning this game. Probably, honestly, something similar to what they won today. I'll go 20-10 Chargers.
I think that might be generous. I'm also taking the Chargers. I was going to say 31-13.
I think we'll put up that many points, but I can see where you're.
I think the Chargers almost just take the will from the Panthers, because I think this offensive line, you have to think Zion Johnson's on this offensive line. They have Jamari Salyer, the late round pick from Georgia as well. Then they also have Rashawn Slater and Joe Alt at tackle. Like, this is a really good offensive line, and I think this is just a really rough day for Carolina. So that's just how I feel about it, and I just think they're going to win. So pretty convincingly. But let's go ahead. We'll wrap this one up here. And if you guys have not already, please go ahead and like and subscribe. Leave a comment down below on who you think is going to come out ahead in this matchup. Will it be the Los Angeles Chargers? Will it be the Carolina Panthers? And that we'll see you guys next time.